And hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Brayne Cast. Today we have a special guest with us, Nancy Coy, and just want to let you know that this episode is brought to you by Brayne AI. We help businesses utilize AI to automate their workflows, sales funnels, and nurture their leads and much more. So, Nancy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, Nancy Coy is the managing partner at Finance RX Venture Studio, a seasoned entrepreneur building innovative solutions in healthcare while helping companies rethink growth, alignment, and how they bring products to market. So Nancy, you built multiple companies and now you're launching a new platform in just 60 days. What's changed that makes that kind of speed possible today? And why don't you talk to us about what you're doing?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's remarkable. This is my third platform that we're building. And the difference between the other two and this one is it's literally night and day. And we have built this platform so fast in comparison. I mean, the other platforms took a couple years. In fact, one of them, there were three development companies that tried to complete the initiative, and it was the third one that looked like they were making really a lot of headway, but it was an enormous amount of cost. And today you can do so much more with so much less. And before, where we would have maybe 30, 35 developers, today we have four working around the clock. And with AI, we're just getting it done. It's remarkably fast. It's literally unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like, the entire development process has fundamentally shifted ever since we've gotten tools like Claude Code and all of these different,
Yeah.
LLMs basically. What does that say about where, software development is heading?
Yeah, it's a great question because I'm quite concerned if for software developers. And I am because of exactly what you said. You've got Claude Code, you've got these different technologies now, these AI technologies that you can deploy. Where we used to have 30, 35 people working on a platform, now we have three or four working around the clock. But it's if I'm a developer, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I think and it's not just developers though. I think this goes a lot farther. Walk into Walmart, walk into Target, walk into a lot of, a grocery store. These people, I truly believe, are walking zombies. They're not going to have a job in a few years.
Yeah, and with where the economy is already at, that's a scary prospect.
And it's real. It's real because it, employees, as and I've been a CEO, I am a CEO again, with the new company, and employees, as much as you truly love and appreciate a lot of time the people that work with you, because you're only as good as the team behind you.
Mhm.
But the team you have behind you now in AI, it's yeah, do they make some mistakes? Sure, but they're not mistakes you can't fix usually, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is employees are expensive. I mean, Claude Code shows up every day on time. They don't. Claude doesn't call in sick, right? And if he or she does, I don't know. It's probably not going to be for long, right? So
Yeah.
it's just a different. Just a different game. So um, I'm really concerned about where this is going to take us. I think it's going to be really good because I think back of course, sometimes I feel like I was around when there were horses and buggies, but I wasn't. I I was we were well into cars when I was born, but I would assume. that most people back in those days were pretty concerned about cars
Hmm.
replacing horses and buggies, right? So it's just a different season. It's a different shift.
Yeah. Well, there was a world without smartphones. We're familiar with that one.
Sure, you're exactly right. That's a great example. Exactly. We didn't have smartphones, and we thought, oh, this. I mean, the guy who there was a guy I can't remember years ago. It's funny you bring that up. So I was at a Stanford football game. I
Hmm.
mean, this is gosh, this is in the late '80s. If it wasn't the early '90s, probably about '91, probably '91, '92.
Hmm.
And this guy was sitting in front of me at this Stanford game, and he had this block phone. And I remember sitting there going, oh my gosh, what is that? I mean, this is incredible. And then we got those phones, and we are paying enormous prices for our monthly service. And I remember having the first block phone,
Hmm.
and then we moved to the bag phone, and that so yeah. I
Which
mean, but
which company made those?
oh goodness, it's who was it? I don't even remember who was that. Um, gosh, I
Was it
don't even remember.
Motorola or some
You know
some
what?
company
Yeah,
that
you know
doesn't
what? It
exist?
probably was. It probably was Motorola because
Yeah.
we all had. Then we had the flip phone and we had the Razor, and we had it was just that was 2008. I remember having the Razor in 2008, and I loved the Razor. Remember we had the BlackBerry. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing that's
BlackBerry
crazy.
Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we had obviously the BlackBerry US, and so it was. Think about all that change.
Yeah. And then the iPhone came along and changed everything. And you're saying you had said that this is like the microwave moment for AI, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I. Oh, what we were talking because when microwaves first came out, I think that was like in the '70s, and
Hmm.
I remember being really young, and my parents got a microwave, and it was like, oh, this is the coolest thing in the world, and they were like $600 to $800. I mean, you'd go to Sears or you go to Montgomery Ward's. Neither one of those companies are hardly exist anymore. If they do, I don't even know if Montgomery Ward's exists anymore. Sears is on its last leg, which is really sad. But man, that was like such a big deal. And I remember it was like my mom and dad had to save for it because it was like
Hmm.
$800 or something. You can go to Walmart and buy a microwave now for 39.95,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Inflation adjusted, that's $800 is probably like 5 grand today. I would say something crazy.
I don't know if it's that much, but it's certainly up there. It was such a game changer though. We were living
Hmm.
in the San Francisco Bay Area at the time, where life is fast and anything you can do to save a minute makes a difference, and everything went
Hmm.
in the microwave.
Right. Yeah. Um, I mean, these models are, just subscription based. They haven't been expensive, and that's been one of the reasons that they can't find profitability. So I don't know what they're gonna do about that. I mean, they are introducing ads now, OpenAI, but that's
Yeah.
why I think
Yeah.
Claude is winning now.
Oh, you mean
Anthropic.
on the marketing side? You mean?
Hmm.
Yeah. It's really interesting because I've heard a lot of marketing people say this is the greatest thing, and then I've heard other marketing people say, "Oh my gosh, what are we going to do?" So
Hmm.
it usually lands somewhere in the middle, right? So I'm
Yeah.
not really sure how that the marketing is really going to play out. But jobs that are that people can just do, that aren't skilled labor, I think is going to be it's probably compromised, right? It's going to probably be
Mm.
replaced. But skilled labor, I mean, I think like plumbers and
Yeah.
my one of my oldest son's a firefighter. I'm like, well, that's pretty safe, right? I mean, if somebody's stuck in a building, yeah, you could probably send a robot in, but I would think that there's still going to be a need for firefighters, and there's still going to be a need for plumbers. And I mean, the toilet's stuck, the
Yeah.
toilet's stuck, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I was just looking at some stats yesterday that, these jobs, especially in software engineering at the top, and then there's obviously finance and other engineering. It has the potential for 90+% of it to be replaced by AI, whereas we're sitting at somewhere around 30-40% utilization right now or replacement. Whereas way down the list is, like you're saying, the skilled labor, which is, only replaceable really a small fraction of it is, doable by AI and will ever be capable. But do you think we're moving toward a world where, execution is no longer the bottleneck, but the distribution is?
That is an incredible question. Um, yeah, I mean, that's a great question because execution is one of the biggest issues of
Hmm.
starting a company. Um, because I think a lot of people, they try to get their product to 100%, and that never happens. And you're just trying to get to MVP. So I think getting to MVP is definitely a lot easier. You still have to have a good team. You still have to have, at the executive level and the implementation level, there's still an element where you still need to have the human touch. We're learning that right now. In fact,
Hmm.
where I used to have 30, 40 people to as we were launching, and that's not even all the developers. We're talking four of us for a national company, a healthcare national company right now. You just don't
Hmm.
you so it is, I think it is making it a lot easier to execute. You just don't need nearly as much. So you can acquire, you can attract the best of the best. And again, you're still looking for incredible people, but I think they're more readily available.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure I'm answering your question 100%,
Yeah.
but
Well,
I
mhm.
think execution is going to be a lot easier than it has been.
Yeah, well, that I guess does mean that, it's going to impact, for example, we saw how many people chose to go into the computer science or go study computer science, and now they're coming out of college, and a lot of them are struggling. Do you think they were sold the wrong dream?
100. Well, I'm not sure that they were sold the wrong dream because I don't think, and many of us anticipated what's happening right now. We just didn't have the foresight to see this. But yeah, if I'm a developer and I'm coming out of school, I'm really, really concerned because I probably get on average on my LinkedIn page probably 10 to 20 outreaches a week minimum. The people that are reaching out and saying, we're doing this, and are you looking for somebody? So I think it's I think it's I think I'd be scared.
Hmm. Yeah. And if, for companies, execution is no longer the bottleneck, and because you're able to go from nothing to MVP in like 60 days, let's say, then really doesn't that mean that, competition is obviously gonna explode, which means it's all about the eyeballs and attention. The best distribution wins, right?
It is that, but I think what you have to do is be really smart. I think you have to protect yourself, and if you have a unique solution in space, you've got to be smart enough to go get the patents, and you got to nail it down, because if not, you're absolutely right. The
Hmm.
competition is fierce, and
Hmm.
people, I mean, when you think in terms of, we have a brand new platform that is almost done, and probably be done in we'll probably be live mid-April, which is unbelievable to me. But when you think in terms of putting that information into Claude Code and saying, I like this company, I like this model, recreate it, I don't think that's going to be that hard.
Yeah. So you're saying either have a strong enough moat in your patent and your IP, or build that moat by having your distribution be strong enough, basically, like your marketing. Is that
Well,
the two options?
I think you have to do both. I think you have to
Oh,
do both.
okay.
And I think you have to be really sticky. I
Hmm.
think you've got to create a real stickiness with your partners. And this is the thing. Excellence is you've got to be excellent. It's not even an option anymore to be a you can't even be a B anymore. This is like you've got to be excellent. And I
Hmm.
think that when you go into market, there's always going to be bugs. There's when you launch a product or service, it's there's always going to be issues. You try to mitigate vulnerability as much as you can, but you have to know that if you don't do a good job, there's going to be somebody right on your tail.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you think the best advice for young people that are looking into the future and trying to start their careers or going into, picking a major right now? Is it to really focus on entrepreneurship and maybe choose something more in the marketing realm, or what exactly is the best approach, do you think?
I think the world of the entrepreneur is going to explode
Hmm.
because I think so many people want to be entrepreneurs. The issue is being an entrepreneur, the traits of being an entrepreneur are not going to change. You still have to be resilient. You still have to have enormous drive. You still have, and so this still is a personality exercise in figuring out what am I really good at? What are my giftings? But I do think the entrepreneur opportunity, I mean, now who would have thought that we have solopreneurs that are
Hmm.
going to be billionaires? I mean, really, there's solopreneurs that are pretty close, if not already there.
Yeah.
Um, so so people, I would say that you need to find your gifting and
Hmm.
you need to work that. And we're all here for a reason. I wouldn't be scared necessarily about that. I would figure out what am I really good at, and I would niche that, and I would be almost border collie focused on being really incredibly talented at that one thing.
Hmm.
Um,
Mhm. So
because I think what
find,
people
sorry,
do
yeah,
is
go
try
ahead.
to, I think people try to be good at a lot of things, and focus is going to be paramount.
Hmm. So that's what would separate, well, separate the winners basically. You have to, um, basically you're saying is pick a pick a niche and then focus to excel at that. Is that what's gonna differentiate and separate the winners?
Yeah, yeah, but never stop learning. Don't rest on your laurels. You're going to have to constantly. I mean, I'm 59 years old and I'm
Hmm.
having to learn things that I never in a million years thought I would have to learn.
Hmm.
I mean, mastering a spreadsheet was like, I mean, this makes that, like child's play. So you can't rest on your laurels, but
Hmm.
be really good at the lane that you're called in. And that doesn't mean that you have to stay in that lane forever, but perfect and be the best so that you can market yourself as an expert. See, this is the thing when you start a business, a lot of people don't realize this, but if you're going to start a company, you're the brand before it becomes a movement. Steve Jobs, you think anybody says Jobs and you automatically associate that with Apple.
Hmm.
You don't even question. You just say, "Oh, right." Well, Steve was a master at
Yeah.
at at branding himself. And that's where
Yeah.
today that is my biggest advice to budding entrepreneurs or people that are that are coming out of school, you have to brand yourself. And
Hmm.
a brand is not all over the map. So branding is not, I don't think it's going to be just companies branding themselves. It's what are you and what is your niche?
I like that. No, that's really good advice. And yeah, I like those insights for sure. For industries like healthcare, I think most of the same applies as well, what you said. What problem is finance RX actually solving that most people outside the industry don't realize exists?
Well, that's another great question. So I I'm not at liberty to give a tremendous amount of information yet, but Finance RX has actually been acquired. And we're in the final throes of press releases and stuff for the new company, which is called Fin Verified. So I can tell you the name of the
Hmm.
company. But what we set out to solve was the compliance challenges that happened at point of care. Patients today go into a doctor's office or some type of clinic or some type of healthcare
Hmm.
environment, dental office, and are offered financing, offering different ways to pay, and that conversation has never been managed. So there's significant regulatory implications that have evolved. And so we set out to solve that. And excited to say I can't say much more than that right now, but we
Hmm.
set out to save that or to solve that, and we will be doing press releases within the next couple weeks.
Nice. Why do you think that the conversations around finances and healthcare, especially even dentistry, are so broken today?
Well, it's a fragmented situation because here in the United States, most patients thought that insurance was going to pay for these treatment protocols. And what's happened
Mm.
is similar to Canada, in dentistry, a lot of dental insurance, if you will, it's almost supplemental
Mhm.
in nature. When you need a crown here in the US, that's like $3,500. But if your
Yeah,
insurance is only paying for, $1,000 or even half of it, there's a substantial out of pocket requirement. And here in the United States, 6 out of 10 people, well, uh, yeah, 6 out of 10 people can afford or um, cannot afford, better to
cannot
say
afford.
it that
Okay.
way. Yeah, cannot afford $1,000 unexpected purchase. So out of
Yeah.
10 people that walk into a dental practice, their mouth is killing them and they need
Hmm.
to have some type of intervention. Doctor does a diagnostic and patient walks out of the room and the treatment is maybe the patient needs a crown, maybe they need implants. I mean, it just depends. And it's $5,000 and the insurance is maybe paying 1,000 or a couple thousand. And they're like, what do I do? And these staff members have never been trained in that conversation. And it's not just a matter of, uh, there's people that have tried to to address it, but you have to understand thoroughly. This is where that delta of AI technology and
Hmm.
humanity really in play together, because in this you still have the human element of somebody that you can use technology, but when somebody is crying in pain, a
Yeah.
robot AI isn't going to solve that.
Right.
So you have to figure out how to have that money conversation appropriately per patient. And that's just not what's ever happened before.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think it's such a great use case for AI. Whenever you have these codes and long, winded policies, whether that's you're looking at building code or electrical code or in the nuclear industry, there's a bunch of code that's specific to each industry, and you have these huge books and textbooks and files that, engineers will have to go into, or mechanics or whoever it is have to go into and actually sift through and try to look for those codes. That's a perfect use case for AI, where you can ask it a question, as it in the form of a chatbot, and it can give you exactly what you're looking for, and you can reference the code and then act based off of that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I agree with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it saves so much headache, and it's
It
more
does say
accurate.
it does save a tremendous amount of headache, and it's easier to streamline the process. It's easier to build a workflow around
Yeah.
because it mitigates the fragmented. Um, just it that's just it. It mitigates the fragmentation, but you still have to think in terms of there's a human element that has to be considered because we're still human and we still have emotions and we
Hmm.
still have the need in, to interact with other human beings. I mean, if you go to a hospital and you look at a bunch of babies that are born that are failure to thrive, they don't do well in life.
Hmm.
They really struggle. And failure to thrive children a lot of times is because they didn't have that human touch. Or I mean, there's a lot of reasons it can happen, but there's still the human element that we can't lose sight of.
Yeah, exactly. The human connection, and then specifically, if we're talking about dental. This is something that me and you were talking about. Is a lot of people, most people don't know, is that your health starts with your dental health.
That's an absolute 100% true statement. And
Yeah.
so many disease states start right in your mouth. And it's funny, I heard something really smart the other day. A friend of mine said, brushing your teeth at night, flossing your teeth at night is the most important. And in the morning, you brush your teeth for those around you, right? That really
Yeah.
is, to but it's really important to take care of that oral health. It's that your mouth is filled with bacteria, and if you don't get rid of that, that is a it's the disease states for cardiac, um,
Hmm.
mental health, mental issues, prostate cancer. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
Well, my sister's a dental hygienist, so she definitely agrees.
I'm sure she does. I'm sure she does.
Yeah, she's gotten
This is
all of us to
true.
floss every day. That's at
Yeah,
least,
it's
her degree coming into effect there. That's good.
yeah. Well, and again, are you going to sit down with that? Do you want to sit down with a hygienist? And we don't know what's going to happen in 10 years with AI, but do you want to go to the dentist and um, have somebody look in your mouth, or do you want to go and stick your head into a jar or something and they something scrubs your teeth? Who knows what's coming? But
Yeah.
but those are things where I hope that the human element remains and the technology continues to advance,
Hmm.
right? Because there's but yeah, your sister is right that so much people just don't realize how important your oral health is.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, so really anything to make sure that people get the best care. I think your solution is helping with that, and solving that kind of problem requires a different way of thinking about the customers. And you have a book. I think it's titled "Stop Selling, Damn It." Is that what it was?
Yeah, Stop Selling Damn It is coming out May 7th. It's available right now on Amazon for pre-order through the 7th for Kindle version. But it really is about no one really in this day and age wants to be sold, and they don't
Hmm.
need to be for all the reasons that you and I've talked about. The day of hardcore scripted salespeople going after a quota, just chasing people. Well, in this day and age, you can hardly get somebody on the phone. It's an email. So this is really a world of alignment. And I think that's one of the greatest things that's coming out of this new culture, this new paradigm shift that we're going through. And Stop Selling Damn It really is the framework of how to solve and not sell, create alignment with your customers, and keep your customers.
Hmm.
Because going back to what we talked about in the very beginning, you got to get sticky with your customers. And how do you do that? Alignment. It's not just a piece of technology. And yeah, technology is massive, making it hard for people to move, right? But
Yeah.
when you're in alignment with your customers, when you're in alignment with a team, people don't leave, because when trust converts. And that's what Stop Selling Damn It is all about. It really is a new, it's not it's not knocking sales at all. It's just a new way to do it, and it's very effective.
Right. What does alignment actually look like in practice when you're working with customers?
Alignment is when your customer, you know what your customer is is looking for and
Hmm.
why they're looking for it. And I'll give you an example. I use this example in the book. So imagine you walk into this. I write this story, and I'll just share the story with you. But this husband and wife walk into this mattress store, and it's a Saturday afternoon. He snores. Neither one of them are sleeping real well. He sleeps hot. She sleeps cold. They got a mattress when they were first married, handed down
Yeah.
from her parents, and it is time to replace this mattress. So they go to the mattress store, and on a Saturday afternoon, walk in and tell the sales professional, hey, just looking. And the salesperson says, okay. They go to a couple of beds, sit on the corners, check the bed out. And the salesperson comes over and starts telling them all about the features of this bed. And then one of the guys in the story, I use his name's Mark. Mark looks at the price tag and says, well, this bed was really comfortable. Thanks. We'll be back.
Hmm.
And you know, as a salesperson, that person's never coming back. Once they walk out the door like that, they're not coming back. Now, reshift that entire conversation. Mark and his wife, Jenna, walk into the store. They go and look at a couple of different beds. Sales professional comes up and starts to sit down and talk and say, so, what brings you in today?
Hmm.
And we're looking to replace our mattress. Great. Well, what's wrong with your current mattress? Why are you looking to change? You start surfacing what I call the friction. You start bringing up what is the driver behind the decision to move forward and or not. And so when the salesperson starts talking to Mark and Jenna, he says, "Well, what's wrong with your current mattress?"
Hmm.
Well, it's old, and it's breaking down, and he snores and I can't sleep, and then he says, well, but she sleeps, she's freezing cold and I'm hot. And so he says, well, okay, let's talk about that. Let's go. Let me show you an option. Let me show you a bed that's like a sleep number bed. And because and then he hands the controls to this guy Mark. And now Mark's engaged because now he's
Yeah.
moving the controls, and that fixes the snoring issue, because for
Hmm.
them it wasn't just about replacing their bed. They had issues that they needed that and it wasn't just we need to replace our bed. It was not about price. It was all the things that I just shared. But that needed to be surfaced.
So ask
What do
about
you
the pain and then listen.
Right, and your customer should be talking more than you are.
Hmm.
It's like, think about it this way. Somebody asks you what time it is, and you tell them how to build a watch. And in our technology world, I'm very involved in venture, and this happens constantly. You'll get on a venture call with somebody that wants to raise capital, and they'll read the slides to you, or they'll tell you all about the technology.
Hmm.
I don't care about the technology. I'm looking for a return.
Outcome, yeah.
And so you have to understand. And most people, when you're trying to get in alignment, so back to the story that I was sharing with you,
Hmm.
by virtue of the representative, I call them alignment specialists versus salespeople. But when you when he got into alignment with them, price became indicative based on their needs, on their wants, not based on what I think as a salesperson that they should
Hmm.
have. Everybody
Right.
has different wants, everybody has different needs. So that, and there's really four drivers, that I call it grip, and it's growth, relief, identity, and protection. And
Hmm.
usually people fall into one of those buckets. Some people are looking for growth. Some people are just like, tell me, in the technology world, tell me what this technology is going to do to save me an hour a day, because I'm exhausted, my team's exhausted. They're not looking for growth. And if you're a salesperson and you go in and try to sell them more, you're going to get more business out of it, they're like, whoa, flag on the play, I don't have any interest in that. Right? You've just
Hmm.
lost that person. You may think you haven't, but you have. The other one is identity. A lot of people are, especially in this world, if I bring this protocol, or this new technology or this solution to the company, is this going to compromise my position in the company if I put my neck out there? And then there's always the protection. I don't want to make a bad decision. I need to protect the finances of the company. I mean, there's a lot of reasons people get into protect mode, but that's really getting into alignment with people.
Okay. I'm seeing how our AI agents that we use for the clients and the partners that we work with to engage with their, existing clients or incoming leads or for cold outreach, how these AI agents do that really well, the listening part, and they're never going to get tired, right? There's so many examples of how people get into their life story and the AI starts empathizing with them, and it's so cute to just to
Yeah,
see that.
it is. It's funny. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
and
ChatGPT.
people
It's
are
like
just
chat says, yeah, chat says, should I be this? Do you want me to be this empathetic? I'm like, no, I just want the answers.
yeah. But then some people just love pouring their hearts out, and they don't even know that they're conversing with an AI. But it does such a good job, and as a sales development rep, and then it'll obviously book them in so that the human takes over. There's still that human connection in the end. And one of our podcast guests, he was recently talking about the trust element that then comes in with, these phone calling AI agents, and people are like, oh, I don't want to talk to an AI, and they hang up the phone, then they give them a call angrily, and they're like, what is this AI? Is this yours? I just want to make sure this and that. And that turns into, even though they were angry, it still turns into a conversation, and that conversation can then, lead to more business. So at the end of the day, it's just about that, I guess, touch point. It creates
Well,
another
it's
touch
a
point.
paradigm shift. Yeah, it is. I didn't mean to talk over you. Yeah, talk over you. It's a paradigm shift. People are getting used to that. Um, you're exactly right. You get, because at some point you get, that's where the human element still comes in, because when you're dealing
Yeah.
with technology and you're dealing with issues, I'm dealing with an issue right now with Manus, and I'm so frustrated, and I can't get anybody to. They keep sending me the same response, and I'm like, I know that I've done this 20 times. It's not that. Is not my first rodeo. And so you get to the point where, as much as I love Manus, because I can't get somebody to help me,
Yeah.
you we talk about, we were talking about being sticky. There is somebody that's right on their tail that will gladly do a better job. And that's the one thing I think a lot of tech companies have to understand, is there's still an element where you still need to talk to somebody, and making it really hard to talk to somebody is really stupid.
Yeah, and you even see when you have these AI support chatbots. What do most people do? The first thing they say is, "I want to talk to a human."
That's right. Yeah, because you want somebody to help you get through it, and and that's, I think, where one of the biggest breakdowns is with a lot of tech companies, and they're gonna
Hmm.
find, even as big as they are, you know, they're some of them are gonna fall because they
Yeah,
do
yeah,
not,
exactly.
they don't, it's like you have to listen to your customer. You still have to talk to your customer.
Yeah, exactly. I think that directly ties into how companies are growing today.
It is, and I think the ones that understand the blend are going to do really well. You have
Yeah.
to have there. If I have perfect example, my mom is in her 80s, very active, spry, 80s. She's travels all over the world, and um, she's not like a, she's not, she's able to do anything at this, still
Well,
at this
that's
point.
that's great. Wow.
Yeah, she's a
May she
very
be
young.
blessed with health and wellness.
Thank you. She's doing great. My dad on the other side is he's having more challenges, but still I'm quite blessed to have them. But my point is that there are still, they don't understand this. And there's still an element where you have to be able to understand. Yes, that's the extreme. But the baby boomers, and granted they're the baby boomers are more cycling, right, to Gen Z, Gen, whatever, Gen X, I don't know, all these different, where it comes in. But even,
Millennials, yeah.
yeah, exactly. But there still is an element that you have to be able to help your customers, and expecting them to comprehend and adapt to this. A lot of them are just saying, forget it, I don't want to.
Yeah.
So in my world, in healthcare, we have to have excuse me, that was gonna sneeze. We have to have mechanisms to address that,
Hmm.
or methodologies rather.
Right. Th I mean, that's what we're seeing with that's what we're trying to do as well, is not really replace the human element, but allow more for the human element by getting rid of the monotonous tasks that humans have to do and sifting through, unqualified leads and boring conversations and repetitive conversations, and then really get to the meat and bones of it. Allow an AI to do that part, filter everybody through, and then you can have the real conversations at the end. And
Yeah,
we talk, yeah.
and that's probably a really great way to do it. But also, one thing that I think that is so frustrating is, even at my age, and I would say that I'm, and say I'm not a developer by any means, and I'm not, but I'm familiar enough with tech to go figure something out, or
Hmm.
thank God for chat. And but there's a lot of people that it's quite frustrating, what they do a lot of times is, I mean, Amazon is notorious for this. They bury the ability to get a hold of a live person, almost. And I think that's a real mistake. I think
Hmm.
that's a real mistake. And I know there's costs associated with it, but when you look at the overall cost of acquisition of a customer versus losing a customer versus a social environment where somebody can go and write a nasty review on Google, it's not worth it. It's, have a blend, have a blend.
Yeah, 100%. We talked about how products today need virality built in. How do you think about, attention when launching something like you're launching something new right now?
What, I'm sorry, I'm launching something out right now. What were you?
Yeah, thinking about your the distribution and the virality that's needed, grabbing attention with something new in the market.
Yeah, I think you still have to take your time and do some
Hmm.
pilots. You need to figure out where the bugs are. Every single technology has bugs. I don't care when you launch anything, it's going to have some issues. Understanding the workflow before you get ahead of your skis, that is going to be pivotal for a lot of people because they're just putting technologies out there, but they haven't taken the time to figure out how it works with the client or the
It's a
patient.
user experience.
Exactly, the user experience is paramount,
Mm,
and just throwing things out there because we talk about you can take something you like, throw it into Cloud Code, creates this company. Well, there's you still have to slow down and do things still the right way, and if you don't, you're going to lose people as fast as you get them in most cases. I mean,
yeah.
look at Steve Jobs. Steve was just I just always look to, he I'm sure he was very hard to work with. In fact, I know people that have worked with him and said he was enormously tough to work for. But
Yeah.
he also he built for the customer. He built for what the customer wanted and needed, and he didn't just he but he I think he knew. I think he was just such a visionary that he knew what they wanted, but I think he confirmed that before he. I just think he did because, and I think he
Yeah.
was relentless about making the product so I guess, favorable to the customer. I mean, he would go. I think he would go and build, and he knew what he wanted because he didn't think they were probably could have figured this stuff out like he could.
Yeah. I guess that's
But
why they have such a loyal and hardcore customer base and fan base, Apple, right? Even to
right,
this day.
absolutely. And who knows if we're going to be using these phones in 5 years from now?
Yeah.
Who knows? But he just was he was so good at branding. I mean, I look at him as really
Yeah.
incredible at branding.
And sticking to his vision.
He was focused, relentless. Those are the traits of a good entrepreneur. They are.
Yeah, that's well put. I'm curious how you're going about the content and distribution part then. If you're going to be slow on the user experience side, are you basically going to hone in on that first and then try to get that virality? How are you approaching that?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't say we're going to be slow. And
Or
probably,
meticulous,
yeah, I would say
methodical?
yeah, meticulous is probably a much better word. Because yeah, I think the way that I have to be a little careful about what I say, but yeah, I think we're just going to be very, very meticulous about making sure that customer journey, the user experience is just in it's spot on as much as you can do it. We're sort of in a unique situation because we're solving something that hasn't been solved. And I've been in the industry for 35 years. My business partner is responsible for creating mobile networks worldwide. He created Caller ID. He's the president of TNS, which is the largest payment gateway in the world. It was,
Hmm.
the largest payment gateway in the world. So
Wow.
um, we both have a tremendous amount of experience, and we've grown up in this, right? We've sort of watched this trajectory. So um, I think what you need to talk about going viral. There is no doubt that this is going to go viral pretty quickly, but we're going to be extremely conscientious of the customer experience so that when we do go viral, if there's an issue, we can fix it immediately.
Right.
And having a tech team available to do that. So so that you're not putting your customer I think when we just don't when we don't put that in the forefront, we're taking our customer for granted.
Hmm.
So you can't do that if you're going to be successful long term.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're gonna see a lot of churn, like a lot of these apps that, when things like Lovable and Cursor and everything came out, a lot of people jumped to them and then also realized they were really limited. And I think that's where Claude Code has taken the market share probably from them because uh, they've paid attention to exactly that is making sure that their claims are backed up by the actual product.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But
To wrap up, where do you see uh, your platform taking the healthcare industry and AI taking the healthcare industry over the next few years?
compliance,
Hmm.
regulatory compliance.
Okay. Well, on that note, thank you very much, Nancy. It was a pleasure
Absolutely,
speaking to you.
you as well.
A lot of great insights. Hopefully we can have you on again.
Love to. Yeah.
All right.
Once we get
Take
the
care,
company launch,
everybody.
love to come back. But yeah, great to see you.
Yeah. Likewise. Thank you. Bye.